Welcome to Language Swap, everyone, a fun way to learn English. We are so excited to have you join us today.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm Alex. Today we are completely changing our planned schedule. We were supposed to talk about something else, but something incredibly serious happened yesterday, and we couldn't just record a normal episode without addressing it.
Absolutely, Alex. Our hearts are incredibly heavy today. Yesterday, June 24th, 2026, a devastating double earthquake struck north-central Venezuela. A magnitude 7.2 foreshock followed almost instantly by a massive 7.5 main shock.
The news coming out of places like Caracas, Yaracuy, and La Guaira is heartbreaking. Dozens of structural collapses, hundreds injured, and families waiting for news. We want to send our deepest, most sincere condolences and solidarity to all our Venezuelan listeners, your families, and everyone affected by this tragedy.
It's a painful reminder of how fragile things can be, but also how critical it is to know exactly what to do when the ground moves. So today, we are going to cut to the chase and talk about earthquake safety, the science behind these phenomena, and how to survive an emergency.
Cut to the chase. Remember that one from episode 6? It means to skip the buildup and get straight to the point, and today, we really need to get straight to the point. Sally, growing up, I was always told by my parents that if an earthquake starts, you have to run outside immediately, but lately I've been reading that running is actually a huge mistake.
It is a massive mistake in modern cities, Alex, and this brings us to the gold standard of earthquake safety, a phrase you need to memorize: drop, cover, and hold on.
I've seen that everywhere lately. Let's break down exactly what it means, because when the ground is moving, you don't have time to second-guess the steps.
Exactly. First, you drop to your hands and knees. This protects you from being knocked over by the shaking. Second, you take cover under a sturdy desk or table to shield your head and torso from falling objects. And third, you hold on to your shelter with one hand until the shaking stops, using your other arm to protect your head and neck.
So the main danger isn't necessarily the entire building collapsing right away. It's the stuff inside or on the building falling on you.
Precisely. Statistically, in modern engineered buildings, most injuries don't happen because the building collapses completely. They happen because of flying glass, falling ceiling tiles, bookshelves tipping over, and flying kitchen appliances. If you try to run during heavy shaking, you become a moving target.
Wow, okay, so running down the stairs while the building is actively swaying is basically a recipe for disaster.
You'll lose your balance, or worse, you'll walk right into the exterior falling zone where bricks and shattered glass from the windows are raining down.
Okay, let's look at another common scenario. What if you're asleep in bed when it hits? Do you roll out and try to find a table in the dark?
No, stay there. Turn face down and cover your head and neck with a pillow. Shifting around in a dark, shaking room is how people step on broken glass or get hit by falling wardrobes.
That makes complete sense. Now, let's talk about aftershocks. We've seen in the news reports from Venezuela that over 30 aftershocks have been registered within the first 24 hours.
Aftershocks, that's our first formal technical term today. They are smaller earthquakes that follow the main largest shock of a seismic event. But don't let the word smaller fool you. They can happen hours, days, or even weeks later, and they are incredibly dangerous because they can easily bring down buildings that were already structurally weakened by the first hit.
Right, so if a building is cracked and barely standing after a 7.5 magnitude quake, a 5.5 aftershock can completely pancake it.
Exactly. That's why once the main shaking stops, the emergency isn't over. That is the window where you safely and calmly evacuate the building.
And when you evacuate, you use the stairs, never the elevator.
Never. The elevator. Power grids fail instantly during major quakes, and being trapped in a lift during an aftershock is a total nightmare scenario.
Hey, Sally, let's address a major myth I used to believe in, the triangle of life. You know that viral theory that says you should lie down next to a sofa or a bed because when the ceiling falls, it creates a void next to big furniture. Does that actually work?
I'm so glad you brought that up, because that myth is highly dangerous. Major rescue organizations like the Red Cross and the U.S. Geological Survey have completely debunked it. The triangle of life assumes buildings always collapse in a pancake fashion, crushing everything flat, which is very rare in modern construction.
Ah, So if you're lying on the floor next to a couch waiting for a magical triangle, a TV or a heavy lamp could just fall directly on your head in the meantime.
Exactly. You are completely exposed to the number one hazard, which is flying and falling debris. Plus, heavy furniture can slide across the room during a massive quake and trap or crush you against the wall. That's why science insists, get under a sturdy table, not beside it.
Wow, good to know. And what about standing in a doorway? My grandmother always told me to run to the nearest door frame.
Another outdated concept from the past century. In old adobe or unreinforced wooden homes, doorways used to be the strongest part of the structure. But in modern concrete or drywall homes, doorways are no stronger than any other wall. In fact, the door can slam shut violently during the shaking and fracture your hand or fingers.
So we've been lied to our whole lives. Under the table it is. Let's pivot to the science for a second, because I know people are wondering, why can't we predict these things yet? We can predict hurricanes, we can predict blizzards. Why are earthquakes always a surprise?
You lost me if you think seismologists aren't trying, but the physics of the Earth's crust makes exact prediction currently impossible. We know where quakes will happen along fault lines, but we can't say when. The stress builds up miles underground for centuries, and we can't see through solid rock.
You lost me. Perfect throwback phrase. It means I don't follow your logic or explain that again. So what we do have now is early warning systems, right? Like the ones in California, Mexico, or Japan.
Yes, earthquake early warning systems are a game changer. They don't predict the quake before it happens, but they detect the very fast, invisible P waves the second the fault slips. Since electronic signals travel faster than the actual destructive S waves through the ground, the system can send an alert to your phone, giving you anywhere from 5 to 60 seconds of advance notice.
Even 10 seconds is enough time to drop, cover, and hold on, or for a surgeon to stop a delicate procedure, or for a train to automatically slam on the brakes.
Exactly. It saves lives, but it relies heavily on your phone being accessible and cellular networks working, which brings us to another major issue we see during these events: communication overload.
Oh, this is huge! The second the ground stops moving, everyone panics. Millions of people grab their phones at the exact same time to call their loved ones, and the entire cellular network completely collapses.
It's a massive bottleneck. And if you're trying to call just to say, "Are you okay?" you might be blocking a critical call to an ambulance or a firefighter.
So what is the protocol there? How do we check on people without ruining the network?
Text. Don't call. Send a brief text message or a data message on WhatsApp or Signal. Text messages use a fraction of the bandwidth that a voice call requires. They are compressed data packets, meaning they are much more likely to squeeze through a congested network.
That is such a vital piece of advice. Type a quick, "I'm safe checking on you." Hit send and then put the phone down. Save your battery too, because you don't know when the power is coming back. Hey Sally, let's look at another quick science thing. People always get confused about how these things are measured. The news report said yesterday's main event was a 7.5 magnitude, but sometimes I hear people say Richter scale and other times moment magnitude. What's the real story there?
You lost me if you're still using the Richter scale for huge earthquakes, Alex. The Richter scale was invented way back in 1935, and it only works well for local, medium-sized quakes. When a massive earthquake hits, like a magnitude 7 or above, the Richter scale actually saturates, meaning it can't accurately measure the total energy released. Today, scientists use the moment magnitude scale instead.
Oh, so the Richter scale has a built-in ceiling and basically maxes out when a real monster quake happens.
Exactly. The moment magnitude scale calculates the physical size of the fault area that slipped and the amount of energy that actually broke loose. And here's the kicker. It's not a linear scale. A magnitude 7 isn't just a tiny bit stronger than a magnitude 6. It releases roughly 32 times more energy. 32 times for every single whole number.
That is absolutely mind-boggling. So the difference between a magnitude 6 and the 7.5 we saw in Venezuela yesterday is a colossal, terrifying amount of energy.
It really is. That's why structural damage changes so radically when you climb even half a point up the scale. It's raw planetary physics at work. Now, let's talk about what happens before an earthquake preparation. Because a lot of people feel like earthquakes are completely out of their control. So they do nothing. They just hope for the best.
I'll be honest, that was me for a long time. I lived in an area with seismic activity and just thought, well, if it happens, it happens.
I'll be honest, remember, that signals a direct, real opinion or confession is coming. And Alex, that mindset sets a terrible tone for safety. The reality is, a little bit of preparation drastically changes your odds. Do you have a go bag or an emergency kit at home?
I do now, but I used to picture it as something only extreme survivalists or preppers have in their underground bunkers packed with hundreds of cans of tuna.
It's not for extreme survivalists, it's for regular families. A standard emergency kit should have 3 days of water, roughly 1 gallon per person per day, non-perishable food, a flashlight, a first aid kit, and any critical medications.
And a whistle. I read somewhere that a whistle is one of the most important items, because if you are trapped under debris, yelling will exhaust you and ruin your voice within an hour. A whistle can be heard from far away by rescue teams and takes almost no energy to blow.
That is an incredible point, Alex. A simple, cheap whistle can literally save your life. But let's upgrade that bag even more. Because people always forget the essentials. Do you have a photocopy of your important IDs in a waterproof plastic bag? Or a power bank for your phone?
Honestly, no. I just thought food and water was the whole deal.
Think about cash and small bills, because if the power goes out, ATMs won't work and stores won't be able to process credit cards. Also, a battery-powered radio is essential to listen to emergency broadcasts when cellular data networks fail.
Noted, completely. These are all simple things you can grab during a regular supermarket trip, and they mark the difference between panicking and staying completely safe. Let's ease into our word tour for today, because we've introduced some heavy concepts, and I want to make sure our listeners can write these down and make them part of their vocabulary.
Ease into, to start something slowly and gently, just like we discussed in the morning routine episode. Let's review our 6 expressions.
Number 1, drop, cover, and hold on, the universal safety protocol during an earthquake. Say it out loud, drop, cover, hold on.
Number 2, aftershock. A smaller earthquake that follows the main shock of a large seismic event and can cause weakened structures to collapse.
Number 3, cut to the chase. To skip the filler and get straight to the point. Let's cut to the chase and check our emergency supplies.
Number 4, you lost me. A polite way to show confusion or that you stopped following an explanation. You lost me on how the moment magnitude scale calculates the fault slip.
Number 5, set the tone. To establish the mood or direction for what follows. Staying calm and collected during a crisis sets a reassuring tone for your entire family.
And number 6, snap out of it. To pull yourself out of a daze, a bad mood, or panic. In an emergency, fear is natural, but taking a sharp, deep breath helps you snap out of panic so your brain can think logically.
I want to circle back to the situation in Venezuela before we close out. International rescue teams and humanitarian aid are currently mobilizing to assist with search and rescue operations, especially in urban areas where older structures suffered heavy damage due to lack of seismic retrofitting.
It's a reminder of why global solidarity matters so much. If you are listening to us from a country or city that is prone to earthquakes, whether that's California, Japan, Chile, Peru, Colombia, or anywhere along major fault lines, please take action today.
Don't wait for a disaster to happen to figure out where the sturdy table in your house is. Walk through your home today, identify your safe zones, and establish a communication plan with your family.
Check your shelves. If you have heavy books, artwork, or mirrors hanging directly over your bed headboard, move them now. That's a quick, free fix that removes a massive hazard instantly.
It's all about consistency and acting before the crisis hits, not during when time runs out.
Exactly. We are keeping the people of Venezuela in our thoughts this week as they begin the difficult process of recovery and rebuilding.
Stay safe, look out for your neighbors, and keep growing, everybody.
Peace, everybody.